take a deep breath, take the higher road. That's what they always say, as if they know the way. They won't take it from me. But don't ever doubt yourself, 'cause life ain't just a dream. You make your own, so kick and scream. The people will act with a never-ending force. You never had the chance, so what you waiting for? The day has come, my friend, 'cause this is war. It's time and this is war.
Today, I want to talk to you about a journey of incredible resilience, courage, and transformation. It's a story that begins in the darkest corners of human experience, but emerges into a beacon of hope and change. Imagine for a moment being stripped of your freedom, your dignity, and your very identity. This is the reality for millions of victims of sex trafficking around the world. It's a brutal, dehumanizing experience that leaves deep scars, both physical and emotional. But today, we're not just here to talk about the horrors of trafficking. We are here to celebrate the indomitable human spirit that can rise from these ashes and become a force for good. My guest today has lived through this nightmare. She has felt the crushing weight of helplessness, the constant fear, the loss of self. But she refused to let her story end there. Through sheer willpower and with the support of dedicated family members, she fought her way back to freedom. But she didn't stop there. No, she looked back at the hell she had escaped and made a decision that would change countless lives. She decided to fight back. She transformed her pain into purpose, her trauma into triumph. Today, she stands as a powerful advocate for other survivors and those still trapped in the cycle of trafficking. She has channeled her experiences into educating the public, supporting victims, and providing crucial insights to this scourge on our society. Her journey reminds us that even in our darkest moments, hope persists. It shows us that our past does not define our future and that our deepest wounds can become our greatest strengths. You're listening to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Before we get started today, I do want to encourage our listeners, if you have questions or comments, or perhaps you want to share your own experiences with what you're seeing on the front lines of healthcare, you can now submit those to any of the hosts by emailing us directly at nurses@americaoutloud.com. We would love to hear from you. We encourage all of you to engage in the battle and find your voice in this fight. But until you are able to do that, we will continue to be that voice for you. Christina Lavoie was a childhood actress who can be seen on shows like The Bernie Mac Show and Malcolm in the Middle. She is now the author of her book, You Know the Old Me, Sex Trafficking and Drugs, The Battle to Save My Life, and is a survivor of sex trafficking who has transformed her harrowing experiences into a powerful movement to inspire others. Her journey from darkness to light is not just a story. It's a testament to resilience, strength, and the indomitable human spirit. Surviving the unimaginable might seem like an understatement for Christina Lavoie. Having endured the horrors of sex trafficking, she could have easily succumbed to despair and hopelessness. Instead, Christina chose to fight back. Her incredible determination to overcome such traumatic experiences speaks volumes about her character and sets the stage for her next chapter, advocacy. Through sharing her story, Christina aims to shed light on the grim realities of sex trafficking while offering a message of hope and perseverance. Along with Christina, I am also joined by her incredible mother, Lourdes Lavoie. Lourdes is a multifaceted talent recognized for her exceptional contributions to both television and film. She graced the ballots as a potential Emmy Award nominee for her captivating guest appearance on the renowned series Without a Trace. She charmed audiences as the host of Movie Time Showcase. Throughout her illustrious career, she has garnered acclaim and accolades as both a filmmaker and actress, marking her indelible mark in the industry. However, Lourdes' journey transcends the glitz of Hollywood. In 2010, when faced with a daunting cancer diagnosis, she made a courageous choice to pursue a natural approach to healing. This decision led her on a profound quest for knowledge, delving deep into nutrition, alternative therapies, and transformative lifestyle changes aimed at harnessing the body's innate healing ability. Alongside her steadfast partner, Chris, whose unwavering support served as a beacon of strength, Lourdes navigated the challenges with resilience and determination. Christina Lourdes, welcome on. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. You have to unmute yourself, Christina. It is so good to be here.
And welcome back. Because if you guys recognize the name Lourdes Lavoie, that's because Lourdes has been on the show before. You were on one of my very first episodes, I believe, of Nurses Out Loud.
Yep.
It's actually an amazing episode. We had so many, so much wonderful feedback on that. It was called The Journey to Option C, where we really highlighted your story. Christina, welcome on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so we talked a little bit, Lourdes, when we had you on back, I think it was almost 2 years ago now. We talked about Christina a little bit during that episode, and it's an incredible story. But I will say, I didn't know the rest of Christina's story. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the sex trafficking and all of that. I knew about the TBI, and we talked about the coma. So I'm very interested. I'm going to let Christina take the reins. I want to hear her story. You can start at the beginning, Christina, and kind of just give us a little background on, what you have been through and how you got to where you are today.
So she she still gets nervous about the whole thing, and so that's why we always talk together. Yeah. She'll be actually speaking this coming October 19th in Illinois. We will be on stage with her as she shares her story. So go ahead, Christina, just go into, the struggle you went through. Like, you don't have to go into the details of what they did, but you can go into the details of, the facts, what happened. We don't need to know like, well, they did it like this, and it's nothing like that. Just what you went through, what you mentally had to go, how do you get yourself out of that situation, and what the things you told me when we spoke about it.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. I know that I don't remember exactly how I said it when I told you. So I'm just like.
So I think it's more like, okay, so let me just ask you the introduction of the questions, and then you go ahead and do the answers. How's that?
That's perfect.
Okay. So, my sweet child, when you were first brought into this trafficking, who was the first one who you trusted and had no clue that that's what was going on, and that's what, and how they pulled you in?
My ex-boyfriend.
So he brought you in, but how did it start? Like, how was he able to get you to do those things that you wouldn't have done on a normal basis? There's no judgment.
For how, I just know that I think it started out with him giving me, some drugs, and the next thing I know, things are happening that was beyond my control. I can't really describe what, happened, because I'm still shocked now, and I already been through it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Right, so in other words, you were
experience.
Yeah, so totally understand. So in other words, you were too drugged up to know what was going on, other than it was going on, and you didn't know how to get out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
I'm sorry, how long ago was this? When did that begin?
I want to say right shortly after I had Julius.
Yeah, her first son. So it was 14 years ago, because he's 14 now. Yeah. Mm. And in fact, during that time, oddly enough, I kept my secret that she knew I was battling cancer. She didn't know I was really bad. So I kept that secret because I felt because we weren't in the same state, that wasn't going to help her mentally. So I never let her know, like, I was getting to an end where I was cancer throughout my body and I was dying. And during that same time in our discussion, she was battling through being trafficked, and she didn't know how to tell me that was going on, because she didn't want me to worry, because she didn't know how to get out of it in the first place. So we were both keeping secrets from each other.
Right.
And now we learned that the best thing we could have done was just share what we were going through.
Was that that I didn't want you to worry. I think it was that I was too worried that you were going to be disappointed in me. That's
So you
why
thought the shame.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, which you still go through.
What are you doing? Like, and I couldn't explain that I was being forced. I don't know how to say it. So that's why I didn't say it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, in that situation don't really realize that they're even in that situation, and they are thinking to themselves. And a lot of times I've heard this many times from rape victims. I've heard, that they would succumb to it because they didn't want to feel like a victim, so that they would then succumb to their attacker, and then they, in their mind, then they weren't being victimized. They were willing, even though they really weren't. So I think a lot of people just either don't understand the situation that they're in, or they're not able to, process it to be able to fully, understand that is, that's what's happening. So
I think when you go through a trauma, it's hard to mentally really grasp that this is happening, especially when it's something that extreme. I mean, because she still has scars from the beatings, from the choking, from, they would choke her till she passed out. In fact, that was one of the things that occurred.
That was Henry. I mean, I didn't mean to say that was the other ex. The first ex,
So she went from one person that she was able to pull out of to jump into someone who pretended to be different and did the exact same thing. And sadly, most people don't even know that they actually work with other folks that bring these people into their homes, and then bring in, these disgusting people that do this into these homes, do this to these women that don't even, young girls that don't even know what's going on, because they have them so drugged up. And then they keep them there captive, and that's where they stay like property.
Right. And yeah, this is an absolute scourge on our society. And I think it happens way more than we would like to admit, or that we would like to even acknowledge. I think many people just turn a blind eye to what's been happening. And if it doesn't directly affect them, they're not, they're not doing as much as they could to combat this. This is a real issue and a real problem with children, young girls, and boys as well. I mean, of all ages that we see this happening with. At what point, so this started 14 years ago, at what point were you able to escape this? And what was the first thing that you did in order to get out?
Well, I know that it got really bad, like to the point where that person had chopped off all my hair in my sleep, and that's when I had enough. I'm like, it's one thing if you're gonna do this and that to me, and it's another thing if you're gonna chop off all my hair to where I look crazy. And I'm like, I just couldn't take it. So I think I had called either my mom or my aunt, because my aunt had given me hair clip-ons so I could feel like a girl again. And then I don't know how, I don't remember that. I don't remember that part. I don't remember like getting out. I remember having my aunt giving me hair clips so I could feel better about myself. And then the rest is a blur, but I know from there, I think I had moved to Waukegan. And
yeah, you did. You eventually moved to Waukegan. I mean, she had a lot of it has been, even with writing the book, we had to discuss a lot to get her into a different space to be able to kind of face those things that happened to her. She's like, down her arm, she has many slices where she was constantly trying to end her life because she didn't know how to get out of it. So, the scars are still there. She's got scars above her eyebrow and in the middle of her forehead where they have beaten her up and hit her with things. She has luckily she's got very thick, long hair. but underneath it, she's got this very pretty big bald spot where her scalp had come off from the hit. And what happened there was they attempted to try to pull the same thing. And the only thing she can remember from that night, right
I
before
think,
she went into the coma,
I think they,
was what was that, honey?
I think that bald spot on the left side, I swear they were trying to kill me.
Right, right. So she was trying to get out of the situation. She kind of recalls that there might have been a second guy there. She doesn't remember, clearly. We're talking, she ended up with such severe brain damage that the doctor said that all her white matter was gone and she was considered brain dead. So I was the one who found, when I went to wash her hair, where the scalp came off, and found where they had hit her so hard that it knocked her out, and she was out for 2 days, barely breathing. So not enough oxygen went to the brain, which is where it caused what one would call, like, medically a stroke, because the whole brain matter was pretty much dissolved.
All I
Um,
remember is like getting into a fight with my ex and then trying to leave. And I think he was physically trying to keep me there. And then I black out from there. I don't remember what happens after that. But I know I called my mom before or after. I
it
don't
was
know.
no, 2 days before, because after you were in the coma. So 2 days
Oh,
before you weren't there, you were somewhere else with your friend visiting, right? And
okay.
so she had went to go, which is why we were like, wait, something doesn't make sense, because she couldn't stand this guy, but then she went there to be closer to her son, to go see him, and then next thing I know, she's in a coma, and I'm like, something's wrong. But we couldn't put it together because she was in a coma and he was there. And he, in fact, interestingly enough, he wanted me to do as the doctor said, was to turn off the machines. And I think it's because he was worried that she would wake up and remember everything. And she could only remember bits and pieces of the whole situation, other than she felt frightened and she knew that she wanted to leave and they were fighting, and that was the last thing she remembered.
Right. And we had to, I mean, it's, Lord, it's your determination to save Christina's life was remarkable, because all of those doctors, and I remember this story well, we covered this, all of those doctors were saying, she's brain dead. Pull the
Yep.
plug. That
Yep.
she didn't have any chance at all. And you kept fighting back, and you were
Yes.
researching, and you came upon, through your research, something that you had found that would, that's known for building back the brain, building back
Yes.
that neural tissue. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I had gotten the call, and which was, first of all, I thought there's no way. Somebody must have misunderstood what the doctor was saying, but they were like, "We're going to keep her alive until you arrive." So I did speak to the nurse there, and they were explaining to me that she was brain dead, that her body wasn't breathing on its own, that they have it on machines, and that because all the white matter was gone, that even if by a miracle she woke up, her body would still shut down. And the best thing for us to do was just to turn off the machines and let her go. So I immediately booked a flight out to Chicago, because I was in California. And meanwhile, I immediately prayed and asked God um, to give me the answer, because I couldn't lose my daughter. I'm like, this is my child. This is my baby girl. How do I save her? You showed me that everything was possible, that everything was fixable. How do I fix this? And instantly the thoughts came in my mind, get online and start sharing. I started sharing with everybody what was going on, that I needed prayers. And then meanwhile, I started searching what builds the brain. And everything was popping up, omega-3 fatty acids. And then my friend sends me a video of a kid who had gotten hit by a car, and he was considered brain dead as well. And they gave him 20 grams of fish oil through a feeding tube. And eventually he came out of it and he was fine. I mean, it was a process, but he did get better. So I then spoke with the head doctor of the hospital and said, I don't want to turn off the machines. I want to bring her fish oil, and I want to give her 20 grams of her feeding tube. And of course, he at first was like, "Ooh, like 3 grams is high, and 20 grams is pretty high. It can cause internal bleeding." And he was telling me all these things, and I said, I'm not actually asking. I'm telling you, this is what I want to do with my daughter, and it's what I'm going to do with my daughter. I just need you to work with me to get this done. And so he did. The head doctor was great. Every other doctor there, I'm just going to say it sucked. And you can't use any better word than that. Because that's exactly what happened. I got there. Many of the doctors were fighting with me. They didn't want to do it. And I'm like, I already talked with the head doctor. This is what we're doing. He took the fish oil that I had brought, and they took it to the pharmacy and put like a prescription they wanted to give 10 grams twice a day through her feeding tube. And sure enough, within 8 days of being on it, she did wake up. But she woke up like what they said, doll eyes, where it's, like doll eyes, your eyes are just wide open. There's nothing, no one's home. And so they didn't move. They just stayed wide open. They would always come in to touch her eyeball to try to prove to me that like she's brain dead. Like I was better off just turning off the machines. And I finally had to tell the nurse to not touch my daughter's eye again. That just by looking at her, I can tell that she's not going to flinch. I don't need someone to keep touching my daughter's eyeball. And so I kind of started just staying there and stopping them from doing things to her that they consistently did. They would gag her to death and, like putting things onto her throat to supposedly clean her out. And it's like, and no, they wouldn't let up. So I was constant. I didn't sleep. I was exhausted. But during this whole time, I had this idiot guy not knowing that he was the one that was cause of this whole thing that caused this on my daughter, just to find out a few years later the whole story. So I'm telling you, this is how I finally got the guy not to be there anymore. After a few days, her hair needs to be washed. Like, why isn't her hair washed? And what was interesting, and now the cop that arrived there did find things odd because this guy had served 10 years for murder. He didn't trust the story that the guy gave. They found like this high doses of heroin in her system, and she had no clothes, none, zero. This is during, below zero weather in Chicago. How are you with this person at a hotel with no clothes in the middle of the winter? And supposedly you had all these drugs in your system, but there's no drugs to be found when they got there. So I think what happened is when they hit her, which is why she's got that bald spot, is that blood got everywhere. They washed her up. And even then I thought, doesn't seem right, because my daughter, when she takes a shower, she was like fanatical. She needed to have her hair done immediately. And here her hair is like a mess. And like, that's just not her. And then not finding clothes there was another one. Not finding the drugs they supposedly she used was another one. And for 2 days that my mom tried to reach out to my daughter, because she would always call to see how she was doing, the guy kept saying, "Oh, she's asleep, and I can't get her up." So my mom knew something was wrong and told him, "Well, no one sleeps for 2 days. And if you don't call an ambulance, I'm calling the cops." And so I think because of that freaked him out. He cleaned everything up. Cops came and everything just was too clean. Yeah. For it to have been the way it looked. The doctors, when I spoke with him, he said there was no way with the amount of drugs they found on her that she would have given herself a shower. He said, there's just no way. He said she had way too high doses to have ever even been able to stand, to be able to give herself a shower, as the boyfriend has stated. So those stories weren't matching, yet they didn't check. And so when I washed her hair, this big clump just fell off, like the scalp and everything came off. And I'm just like, what the crap is going on here? So I took pictures. I got the doctors to come in with the nurses, and I'm like, what's this? Like, if we're going to say it was because of an overdose, what does that have to do with the scalp coming off? So that's when they were like, well, they did find in her x-ray that that brain on the side of the brain was swollen. There was a lot of inflammation. Never did they check to see if there was, some type of injury. They just went along with what the guy was saying happened. And so, long story short, they then immediately blocked him from coming into the room where she was at. But these were things only because I happened to be present and I was asking to, you're not giving her this. I need to wash her hair. Like all these things is how we came about that it wasn't because of drugs. There was an injury that did happen. And we couldn't go after him because she was in a coma and there was nothing that we could pinpoint to say he did this.
So now all of this happened, and this is what 14 years ago?
Correct.
You
Yeah.
said. So has he ever
Oh, so say, I'm sorry, 10 years ago. This happened 10 years ago.
has he
in
ever been held
2014.
accountable?
Nope.
Wow.
He's done 10 years for the first murder.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been 10 years since this happened to her because this happened in 2014.
Yeah.
And once she started putting things together, it took her a while. It's like the only thing she could always keep remembering is that they were in an argument and that she felt scared and she was attempting to leave, and that's all she could remember. So there was no way of doing anything because that's all she could remember. So that was the bad part is, he got away with it. The good part is that she is able to now expose it and share so that, people understand the things that are occurring out there, because it's not just her. I mean, this is happening to many people where they are drugging them up. They are beating them to they have like no dignity. They beat them physically, emotionally, and spiritually till they're just this empty vessel that they take advantage of.
Yeah.
And until you have no esteem.
I'm sorry, what was that?
What?
Until you have no self-esteem, they take away your self-esteem.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it makes
Yeah,
you
for a
just
very
not
long
able
time,
to fight back.
for a very long time, she's like, and I told her she goes, people are just going to look at me like I'm a whore. And I said, no, they're not.
No. Not at
That's
all.
that's what these men put in your head.
Right.
But that's not who you are.
Right.
When
There's
someone
certainly
takes
no
advantage
shame.
of your situation, when someone beats you, if it was something like you couldn't wait to do it, and hey, how can I get on to do this job? And I want to say that's very different than someone drugging you up, beating you to senseless to do whatever they tell you to do. That means everything is done against your will. When they force little kids to do these things, the kid didn't go, hey, I can't wait. These are things that they're drugged up and beat up so that they're forced and scared to do whatever they're told to do. That is not someone being, and I always try to tell her this, and I think she finally, when she started sharing and getting this out of her, out of her mind and her thoughts, that she finally figured and realized it, like, wait, I'm not a whore. I don't have to be ashamed of my past. I need to be more, a lot stronger and stand up for these things because it's the only way others are going to. Because a lot of people that are going through this are feeling and thinking just like her, and they don't see value in themselves anymore.
Yeah, that's so true. And it really does only take one to step up and step out and share their story to inspire so many others. So I'm so glad that you're doing what you're doing and you're reaching other people. We're coming up on a break, but I want to dive more into this story and about how you are moving forward and learn all about this book that you've written. So we will go to break and we'll come back here in just a few minutes and dig into that. America Out Loud Talk Radio plays on the iHeartRadio network. You can also listen on our media player from any web browser anywhere in the world. We have the best in-class apps available on Apple, Android, or Alexa 24/7. Great talk radio. All of our shows go to podcast the following day. You can hear them on apps such as Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeart Podcast, and many more. Be sure to subscribe and rate the show on Apple Podcasts for me. Don't forget to check out our online store at americaoutloud.shop, where you can find all of the products that we represent on our network at a discounted rate, including an incredible line of products from Chemical Free Body. Unlike the majority of supplements you'll find on the market today, with Chemical Free Body, you won't have to worry about harmful ingredients, binders, fillers, or flow agents. Their ultra-safe breakthrough nanosilver technology destroys pathogens, balances the microbiome, and boosts immunity. All of these products are proudly made in the USA and are backed by an unheard of double your money back guarantee. I've made a twice daily Green 85 drink part of my routine, which has led to a decrease in belly bloat and an increase in my energy throughout the day. Use promo code OUTLOUD to save 20% off the Healthy Gut Bundle. I'll catch you on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
It's time and this is what.
Are you worried about spike proteins and how they may impact your health? Are you looking for help? The Wellness Company has an answer in the form of our clean, pure, all-natural spike formula, developed by experts like Dr. Peter McCullough. The Wellness Company's spike formula includes the incredible nattokinase, dandelion root, black sativa extract, green tea, and Iris sea moss. Even better, the spike formula by the Wellness Company is vegan, gluten-free, and made right here in the USA, so you know that you can trust and rely on it if you're concerned about spike proteins. Buying American-made naturalistic ingredients of this quality separately costs over $100. Our spike formula is only $65.99. Get spike formula today by going to twc.health. Out Loud listeners use the code OUTLOUD at checkout for an additional discount. Go to twc.health, promo code OUTLOUD, and get peace of mind if you're concerned about spike proteins.
In 2008, people could spend an average of 12 seconds on a task without becoming distracted. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds. The digital age is narrowing our attention span. Trouble concentrating or recalling information is frustrating, embarrassing, and kills productivity. Advanced nutrition company Healthy Cell created Focus and Recall to boost your brain power. And unlike other supplements that don't work, Focus and Recall is not a pill. It's a patent-pending gel you swallow with ultra-absorption of science-backed ingredients to help you immediately sharpen focus, concentrate longer, and strengthen recall. These physician-formulated gels come in a small gel pack. Tear off the top, shoot it down. Thousands of 5-star reviews proves it works. Supercharge your brain and see the difference. Go to healthycell.com and use limited time code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com, code OUTLOUD.
I'm Dr. James Bragman. Do you suffer from allergies, sinus problems, or just seem to be getting sick more often? You're not alone. Many of my patients are finding relief with Cofix RX nasal spray. I've relied on the sanitizing power of povidone iodine for years. Cofix RX has harnessed that power to help cleanse germs, allergens, and viruses in your nasal cavity. You brush your teeth and wash your hands daily. Stay healthy by using Cofix RX to wash and cleanse your nose daily. Get Cofix RX today. Go to America Out Loud Shop and click on the Cofix RX banner, or type in cofixrx.com/outloud. Buy now and receive a 20% discount with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Expert opinions, honest debate, and in-depth investigations are what you've come to expect from AmericaOutloud.news. We don't shy away from speaking the truth boldly and plainly. All that's missing is the propaganda that has infected legacy and social media. Get the best of down and dirty, wholesome American speak. Now is our time, my fellow Americans. America Out Loud Talk Radio. Liberty and justice for all.
World-class care from doctors you can trust, all from the comfort of your home. That is One Wellness. Dr. Peter McCullough and his team at the Wellness Company launched the One Wellness membership to provide free monthly supplements and unlimited telemedicine access with doctors that share your values. The Wellness Company's Chief Medical Board designed every supplement and medical protocol with your health in mind. From groundbreaking supplements like the Spike Support Formula to unique care like Freedom from Big Pharma. Join a healthcare system that puts your health and well-being above the interest of Big Pharma's bottom line. It's the way healthcare should be, with a company that shares your values. Go to OutLoudCare.com today and use code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first month of One Wellness.
Hey everyone, this is Nurse Kimberly Overton, your Wednesday host on Nurses Out Loud. Don't forget to check out our online store at AmericaOutloud.shop, where you can find all of the products that we represent on our network at a discounted rate, including an incredible line of products from Chemical Free Body. Unlike the majority of supplements you'll find on the market today, with Chemical Free Body, you won't have to worry about harmful ingredients, binders, fillers, or flow agents. Their ultra-safe breakthrough nanosilver technology destroys pathogens, balances the microbiome, and boosts immunity. I've made a twice-daily Green 85 drink part of my routine, which has led to a decrease in belly bloat and an increase in my energy throughout the day. Use promo code OUTLOUD to save 20% off the Healthy Gut Bundle. Be sure to tune in to Nurses Out Loud Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern.
58 million people suffer from joint aches and stiffness in the U.S. every day. Ignoring chronic joint discomfort can affect mobility and your quality of life. Advanced nutrition company Healthy Cell created joint health and mobility to support connective tissue, joint lubrication, and reduce joint irritation with curcumin, omega-3, chondroitin, glucosamine, and hyaluronic acid for joint comfort and flexible range of motion. And Healthy Cell's not a pill. It's a patent-pending gel you swallow with clinically proven ultra-absorption of science-backed ingredients. You would need to take 11 pills to get the same amount of nutrients in each gel pack. And these great-tasting gels come in a small packet. Tear off the top, shoot it down, or mix it in water. It's 100% drug-free joint support. Go to healthycell.com and use code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first order. healthycell.com, code OUTLOUD for 25% off.
It's time and this is why.
Welcome back to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Wherever you're listening from today and whatever you're doing, I thank you for giving me the gift of your time. Be sure to make America Out Loud News your daily stop for all the latest news and happenings. We all must do our part and share the stories, the articles, the podcasts, and videos so we can help secure America's future. If you're just joining us, I've been talking with Christina Lavoie, who has fought her way back from being a victim of sex trafficking, and her incredible mother, Lourdes Lavoie, who had fought so valiantly for her daughter's life. Let's jump right back in. Thank you, ladies, again for being here today. And thank you, Christina, for sharing. I know this is not easy to talk about, not just that I'm sure you don't remember a good portion of what happened, but that there is, you might feel, shame. You don't have to feel that. There is no judgment here. Nobody is judging you. I think you're incredible. I think you're incredible for standing up and fighting back. So I really want to focus the last half of the show on how you have fought your way back from being that victim mindset to moving forward as an advocate for others.
Well, I think God played a big part in it, because me and God, we're very close.
Yeah.
And I learned about God from my mom teaching me and reading me the Bible as a little girl. And the moment I started talking to God, when just me and him, I immediately not only felt better, but anytime I would ask him for something I needed, he would provide each and every time. And then there'd be times, that the stuff that I went through that I didn't ask for anything, and it would get really bad. And then it got so bad that I would get on my knees and cry and plead for what I needed. And he would then show up and provide me what I needed. So I think that's what played a big part that had me to move forward, is ask God for everything and he will provide. That's why it says, ask and you shall receive.
Amen. Amen. I can attest to that. God does provide. He has shown up for me in ways I can't even describe to people unless they have experienced God's provisions like you have, like I have, like Lourdes, like you have. We can't even describe that. People, I think, don't understand until they are in that situation. But I wholeheartedly believe that God played a hand in your survival and in your, ability to move forward. So you've written this book. Tell me the name of your book.
The Old Me.
Yes. The Old Me. And you wrote this book in order to speak to others who are in a similar situation to what you've been through, and to try to encourage them, inspire them, and let them know that they're not alone. in their journey, because I feel like a lot of people feel like that they're the only ones, or there's nobody else out there. Nobody understands what I've been through. But you are a living testament to survival and the resilience you've shown, not just in, to coming back from the sex trafficking, but what you had to fight through to get out of that coma and to come back and live just this amazing life. I mean, I was floored the first time I heard the story, and I am even more so now.
It's interesting. She was telling me also that while she was in a coma, I felt like a really bad dream, and from one bad dream to another.
One bad dream after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what
Do
were
you
you
remember
doing?
anything from that time? Do you remember anything, or did you hear anything? I know a lot. I'm an ICU nurse, and I have worked with a lot of patients that are sedated or comatose. And, I believe wholeheartedly that they can hear what is happening, what is going on. That's why I always narrated my care. When I would go in the room, I would, hold their hand, or I would talk to them. I would introduce myself and tell them what was happening, because I couldn't imagine laying in a bed, even being somewhat peripherally aware, and having people, just nurses and doctors come and start, doing things to me without knowing, or without them explaining that. So do you remember anything like that?
Yes. I remember being stuck in a bad dream, and then I remember that I know, like, how when you're in a scary dream and you get scared and you wake up. So I literally kept putting myself in every scary dream I could think of. The first one, which is my ultimate scariest for me, was being chased by a black dog, because I remember when I was little, I got chased by what are they called, Rottweilers, and that just stuck with me. I'm like, okay, let me just do the Rottweiler to wake up, and it didn't work. I'm like, oh my god, okay, let's try water, and it didn't work. And I'm like, try spiders, it didn't work. I tried everything, centipedes, bugs, everything, and a sea of water, and nothing worked. So that I panicked, and I'm like, this is not good. Something's wrong. Because I can always scare myself up out of a dream, but that's how I knew it wasn't. Like, this can't be a dream, because dreams you can wake up yourself out of, because I've done it before. So something was wrong. I knew that. So I'm like, I'm having all these bad dreams and I can't wake up.
And how long were you in the coma for?
Yeah, I don't know, Mom.
Oh my goodness. So she was in a coma. I think it was like 2 weeks of it, but I went there and then made them give her the fish oil. So that then 8 days after that, she woke up from that. But she wasn't, like she wasn't home, kind of thing. And then I think it was by the third month, she was finally like she had eye movement. And it was in the third month that I think it was when she finally she couldn't walk or anything yet, but she was able to, she finally said like her first words. So I'd say a good, almost a month of, that, but because it was like about 3 weeks. But it was because I stepped in and I'm like, no, this is what we have to do. And so, and that's where she finally came out of it. But again, when she came out of it, she still was kind of like comatose, because she wasn't present there. So it took another, I think like by the second month, it was more of eye movement, but again, still no speaking, like not still there, you know what I mean? It took like the third month when she finally was able to do eye movements and then spoke. So it was quite a bit before it took her to get out of it. But I do know that she was saying that in her, when she was in the coma and going through these things, she was praying to God.
Yeah.
Because she knew something was wrong.
Well, yeah, I had no other choice.
And clearly God was with you through that time. And, your mother, who I love you, Lourdes. I mean, I think you're amazing. You are just such a warrior. What you did for yourself, what you did for your daughter, and then what you did for your mother, all of the, the resilience. It's very easy to see where Christina gets that resilient spirit from. She definitely comes by it very naturally through you, and the strength that you've instilled in her, I'm sure, since she was a child. So I'm not at all surprised. that you have that kind of strength. Just knowing you for, as long as I have now, we've known each other a couple of years. I'm really hopeful to come out there to tell us you're going to be speaking in October. Let's hear a little bit about that, because I'm sure there are people that would love to come out and hear you speak. I know I'm going to try to come as well. So when is that and where is that?
I believe October 19th. And it's somewhere in Zion. I don't remember the exact address.
Yeah, I have to, I actually should have the address here, but
Well, we'll make sure we share it in the show notes as well. We can just share a link to get tickets. It's an expo. Is it the Trinity Health and Wellness again?
No, this is with the Power Networking Club, and this will be.
Oh, it's Tom Jackomis, our mutual friend Tom Jackomis. We'll give Tom a shout out.
Yes. So that's going to be on October 19th in Zion, Illinois, at this beautiful hotel that's like right at the beach. And it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then following at 6 p.m. is the Black Tie Affair dinner. So, and then for the entrance for the actual expo, you can actually pay at the door, and that's just $10 to go into the expo. And there'll be a lot of tables there. And I think it's going to be either 12 or 1 in the afternoon where Christina will be speaking. And Chris and I will also be speaking. So Chris and I will be the first speakers. And then right after us, we'll be introducing Christina. She'll be out there sharing her journey and signing books for anyone who goes there to, sign her book.
That's amazing. Well, I'm definitely going to try to see if I can make my schedule. That is on a weekend, right?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
I'm probably going to try to drive out there. I think that would be fantastic. I would love it. I would love to meet you, Christina, and certainly get your book.
That would be awesome. I would love to see you.
Absolutely.
I'm going to sign it, when we meet, if you do come, if you decide to come.
Absolutely. Now, tell me, so can people purchase this book online anywhere? Is there a link for that we can share?
Yes, if you, I can also send you that link, but if you go to Amazon, you can literally type in Christina with the letter K, so Christina Lavoy, Lavoy, and her book will pop up. And you can get it in paperback, Kindle, and hard copy.
Well, I always type, the old me title, and it just pops up immediately, like, oh, it's that.
Yeah. So, but in case someone forgets to type in, the old me, you can just type in Christina Lavoy, and it'll pop up. Her book will pop up, and it's just remember that it's Christina with a K.
Absolutely. We'll make sure that we share all of that information and links to buy the book, links to get tickets to the expo, and all of the information that our listeners will need to get out there and see you, support you in your journey. I'm just so proud of the both of you for sharing this story, because not enough people get out there and share their stories. And to me, that's what it's all about. What are we here for if not to help one another through, right? So,
exactly.
Adversity is the author of some incredible stories, and we need to continue to share them.
Yes.
One another. So we have just a few minutes left. So I want to kind of just cover a little bit more about your experience writing the book. When did you start writing this book? And was it your idea to write it? Lourdes, did you have a hand in that? Were you encouraging her to do this?
Well, it's interesting. I was in the middle of writing my other book, my third book.
I was gonna say, because we know Lourdes has written many books at this point.
Yes. And I was in the midst of writing everything. And like, I think going into the chapter 2, I stopped because like this, it could be the Holy Spirit. I don't know what it is, but it just like this overwhelming thing popped around over me. And it was like, stop writing this. This is what you need to do. And so then I reached out to my daughter and said, hey, let's write your story. And she said, I've been wanting to tell my story for so long. And I said, well, then let's do that. And then we started, we talked every single night, going through every, because she had to remember things. She, there was like the lady who ran this whole trafficking thing. She just remembers what she looks like, right? Which she describes her in the book, but she couldn't remember her name, which I told her it's best not to anyway. So that's why even in the book, we didn't mention their names. We use names to describe them. Yeah, we started, I think when we started writing your book we wrote it like within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I applaud you there because I tell you, people have been asking me to write a book and tell my story for three years now. And I'm like, I don't know when I will have the time to do this. I want to share my story. I want to get it down on paper, get it in a book and put it out there, but it's a lot. So I applaud you. And Lourdes, how many books do you have now?
2 that are out, and the third one is where I stopped and then continued on writing with Christina. So we wrote this one together. So that'd be 3, and then the one that's going to be coming out in probably next few months, and that'll be 4.
I really need to step up my game. Clearly, I need to step up my game and take a cue from the both of you, and actually just sit down and finally write that story that people want to hear it. So one of these days that story is coming out. So we will make sure that we put all of these again. We'll put all these links in the show note for you, so that you can purchase this book. And I do encourage you, if you are in the area, if you can get to Chicago, Illinois, to get out there and support Christina, support Lourdes, and listen to the story. I've heard Lourdes's story, and I remember this when I came out to the Trinity Health and Wellness Expo. What was that, 2 years ago, I think, Lourdes? Yes. And I was in the front row. And I think at that point, hadn't I already interviewed you, or you had interviewed me, one or the other? I can't remember. Yes. So I was familiar with the story. She still brought me to tears. She still brought me to absolute tears. It was incredible to sit there and listen to her share this story. And she shares from the heart. And it literally brought me right to tears, even being familiar with it. So really don't miss that opportunity to hear this and to get to know Lourdes, who, again, incredible, resilient. And again, Christina, you take right after your mom, clearly. Clearly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else that you would like to share? We just have a couple minutes left. If there's anything you want to share with our listeners, or any parting words that you want to leave with them. If you were to speak to, maybe there's somebody out there that is being trafficked right now, and they are in this situation like you were, what would be your message to them?
First, God.
Yeah.
And after you're done talking to God and asking for help, then the best thing would be to talk to, like if you're close with your mom, like I am with mine, to talk to your mom and ask for help. Anyone that is like a mother figure that loves you like a mom, go to them next. Because, not saying that God won't get you out of it, because he always does, but depending on how bad your situation is, like if you need to get out like quicker, then I don't know, like first God, and then after you're done talking to God, then go to your mother figure or parent figure and ask for help. You have to always first God, but always ask for help, and that'll get you out. I promise you.
Amen.
Yeah, and even if it's like a stranger, you're walking somewhere, you have to, because even now I've noticed that they're showing people how to do a hand gesture,
yes. Help me. Yes.
Right, to say that they need help, because sometimes you can't. And like, when you're that person, there's a big chance you're not going to be able to just say anything to someone else. But if they're walking, and I think it's where they put your hand behind your back and you do the 4, 5, 4, 5 or something like that.
Yes.
It's telling the person that you need help. And so I think doing things like that, or the moment you, because like for her, she was literally inside someone's home where they kept her captive and drugged up. So sometimes it is a little tougher, but like she said, when you start praying to God, he will bring people up. Something will show up that'll get you out of that situation, like it did her. So that would be the first thing. And the second thing is, at the moment that opportunity does show up, jump on it. Whoever that is, it could be, the neighbor next door, the dog that came barking, whatever. Use it to get yourself out of that situation.
Amen. Absolutely. Fantastic advice. I want to have you both back on again because your stories are incredible. Lourdes, I need to follow up with you again because again, your story, I want to talk. I'm delving deep into the alternative cancer therapies once again. So we will bring Lourdes back and to give some information on that because again, her journey with that was absolutely incredible. And I'll also share a link to that episode, The Journey to Option C, that we did about 2 years ago. And you shared some amazing information there. Lourdes, Christina, thank you so much for being here with me today.
No, thank you.
Pleasure.
Absolutely. And that is all the time that we have for today, friends. But remember, we are here on the air 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern with a different nurse host daily. You can also catch the encore at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please be sure to tune in and listen to myself and my amazing sister nurses. As we walk you through all of these hot topics, we will empower you with information and education. We will advocate and we will stand in the gap for you because we are nurses and this is what we do. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton, and you can find me here every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, be safe, be well, and God bless. Remember that we are in a war for truth. We are putting out a bounty on the real misinformation and exposing the purveyors of propaganda. No topic is off limits as we shine our lights and expose the darkness.
It's time